Good morning everybody and welcome to Tuesday's maths lesson. We're going to be looking at equal groups today for our multiplication and division topic. We're going to look at equal groups because when we multiply something, we add the same amount each time to multiply it. And when we divide something, we need to share it equally by the number we are dividing by. So let's take a look. So what do we mean by equal groups? Well, I just said a word in that first part that might give us a clue of how we make equal groups. See if you can finish my sentence. When things are equal, it means that they are the... Can you think of a word that I could put at the end of my sentence? They are the same. So when we're making equal groups, it means that there is the same amount in each group. So let's have a look at these two groups. We've got some bananas. I'm going to look at just the bananas first. And are these groups of bananas or bunches of bananas equal or unequal? Well, first, how many groups have we got? How many bunches of bananas have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3 groups of bananas. Then we need to see how many bananas are in each group, and that will tell us whether it is equal or unequal. So let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 bananas in our first group. Let's take a look at the second group. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 again. Now let's take a look at our third group to make sure there is the same or an equal amount in our third and final group. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there is 4 bananas in each group, so that means that it is an equal group. So well done for counting along then. What about the trees? Can you have a try? So first of all, how many groups have we got? We're looking at groups of apples. So how many apples are on each tree? But there are 3 trees, so that means there are 3 groups. And then we need to count the apples. So on this tree, the first group of apples, there are 10 apples. Well done if you counted those. What about the second group of apples on our second tree? How many apples are on there? Let's count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 apples. Is that an equal amount? Did we have 8 on our first group of apples on our first tree? Can you remember how many were on there? If you can't, count again. If you can, is it the same as the 8 we've got here? Is it equal? Let's count the third one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now the third group, the third tree, with the third group of apples on, also has 10. So our first group and our third group have 10 apples. But our second group of apples on the second tree didn't have the same amount. It didn't have an equal amount. It only had 8 apples. So we know that these groups are unequal groups. What about the sweets and the pears? You take a look. How many groups have we got? How many groups of sweets? Or we could say how many jars of sweets, but if we're going to use our maths language, we need to say there are 3 groups of sweets. How many sweets are in each group? Pause the video and have a count and tell me whether that's an equal group or an unequal group. Has it got the same amount of sweets in each jar, or has it got a different amount of sweets in each jar? Did you get it? There isn't the same amount of sweets in each jar. Let's have a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sweets in this jar. And then there were 10 sweets in this jar. But were there 10 sweets in this one? In our second group? There wasn't. So these are unequal groups of sweets. What about the basket of pears? Have a look and count the basket of pears. So first, can you tell me how many groups of pears are there? How many baskets? 3. Well done. And how many pears are in each basket? Pause your video and have a count and tell me how many pears there are, and are there equal groups of pears in each basket? What did you find? Were there the same amount of pears, that an equal group in each? How many pears in each basket were there? Did you all get 10? Fantastic counting if you did. And are there equal groups? Yes, they were. We have 3 equal groups of 10 pears because there are 10 pears in each basket. Right, can you finish this sentence? How many groups are there? There are groups, each with ice cream scoop. So first we need to find out how many groups there are on our page. How many groups or how many ice creams? Did you count them? Did you get 5? Fantastic. So our first sentence is there are 5 groups. But in each group, how many scoops of ice creams are there? How many scoops has this one got? What about this one? Keep counting. Did you get it? There are 2 scoops of ice cream. So there, our sentence will be there are 5 groups, each with 2 ice cream scoops. Right, let's try this one. There are groups of apples. So first, how many groups we need to find? Now, how many groups of apples can you see? Can you count? Did you get it? 4 groups of apples. Well done if you counted that correctly. What about how many apples are in each group? Can you count them? Did you get it? 10 groups of apples in each. 10 apples in each group, sorry. So there are 4 groups and of 10 apples, and that's our sentence. And remember, because we're going to be using these sentences to explain our equal groups. So there are groups of. Pause the video and you have a try and complete my sentence. See if you can write that sentence down and see if you can upload some of these sentences to Tapestry. So pause the video first because I will put the answers up shortly. Right, are you ready? There are 3 groups of 10 fish. We have equal groups because there are 10 fish in each fish tank. And there are 3 groups because we have 3 fish tanks. So there are 3 groups of 10 fish. Well done if you got that sentence correct. Right, we're going to make some equal groups ourselves. We're going to finish off this diagram. And this is our first group and we have 4. But at the minute, my group is unequal because I only have 2 in my second group, in my second box. How am I going to make that equal? So can you get a pen and paper or write down on the paper that you're writing on now or in your book? Can you draw this picture with 2 boxes next to each other? And can you complete my diagram? Can you fill in what's missing here and here to make it an equal group? How many have we got already? And how many do we need to make it equal to this group? Pause your video while you do your drawing, and then we'll move on to the next. Did you get it? Did you get the 2 other donuts that we were missing? How many donuts are in this group that we had already? There were 4 in our first group, but I only had 2 donuts in this group, and it was unequal, and I needed 2 more donuts because 2 and 2 is 4. So I needed 2 more donuts to make my group equal. Right, try the next one. Oh, my head's on one of the teddy bears, so you can use that. So in this group there are 3 teddy bears. 3 teddy bears in our first group. Now look at the box. Look at the big box. How many groups is my box split into? Have a think, because that will tell us how many groups there are. And in our first group, in our first box, there are 3 bears. So how many do I need to put into our second box to make my second group equal? Have a think. See if you can pause this video and draw the box, the rectangle box, and split it into 3. And see if you can complete that diagram. I will show you the answers next. Did you get it? The second box needed 1 more teddy bear, but what about the third box? It needed all 3 teddy bears drawing in to make all our boxes equal. And if I was going to remember my sentences that we looked at for this diagram for the teddy bears, I would say there are 3 groups of 3, because we have 3 boxes, 3 groups, and in each box, in each group, there are 3 bears. Well done if you were able to draw that one. Try again with the hands. How many groups have I got in this picture? And how many hands are in each box? Or how many hands are in each group? In my first group, I have 4 hands. In my second group, I also have 4 hands. In my third group, it's unequal at the moment. Can you make it equal for me? How many more hands do we need to put in this box to make it equal? And in my fourth box, in my fourth group, I have no hands. So how many hands do I need to draw to make this equal? Now, if you're struggling with the drawings, you can always just draw the boxes and do some circles or do some dots to represent the hands. Did you get it? We needed 2 more hands to make this group equal. We already had 2, and to make 4, we needed 2 more. In our fourth group, we didn't have any hands, so we needed to draw 4 hands. And if I was to look at my sentence, I would say there are 4 groups of 4. What about this one? The first one has 3 bulbs. The second group has 3 bulbs. What about my third, fourth, and fifth group? How many bulbs do I need to draw? The third group has already got 1 bulb, but the fourth and the fifth have no bulbs in. Pause your video and draw in some more bulbs. Did you get it? In our third group, we needed 2 more bulbs to make it equal. And in my fourth and fifth box, I needed all 3 bulbs to make it equal. So, here's a question. Remember what we have just learned about our sentences and how we count the groups and how we count what's in our groups. Is this sentence true or false? True meaning it is right, and false meaning it's not quite right and someone's telling a fib. True or false? There are 4 groups of 5 pencils. Can you write your answer down and write it in a sentence and write that it's true or false? And if you think it's true, tell me why. And if you think it's false, tell me why. Pause your video to write your answers, and then if it's not right, see if you can change it to the correct sentence. And you should have got that it was false. There are 5 groups of 4 pencils. We have 5 groups or 5 pots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in each pot there are 4 pencils. So the answer was, it was false. And did you manage to correct my sentence to say there are 5 groups of 4? If you did, fantastic work. Right, my friend Kat says that I have 3 unequal groups. Can you draw a picture that would show 3 groups that are unequal? So remember what the word equal means and see if you can make unequal groups. I would love to see your pictures on tapestry, so have a go at that. And then your final task is I can make equal groups 2 different ways. Can you complete the sentences to explain the different ways? Right, let's count how many she has got. So use the way that we have just looked at, and she has got how many groups? And how many groups, how many circles, counters have we got in each group? Can you write a sentence to say how many groups she's got and how many are in each group? And then can you have a look at that first sentence and see how we can change it to make a different way? There were 2 equal groups of how many? 4. Well done. Did you manage to change that around and think of a different way that we could sort those groups to make another equal grouping? If you're stuck on this, try and get some counters or some pennies or something that can represent, or sweets, and see if you can get 8 sweets or 8 pennies or 8 counters, and see if there's another way that you can write that sentence. Move your items and objects around to try and make a different way. I'm going to tell you the next sentence now, so if you're not sure and you need some more time, pause your video. So there are 4 groups of 2 counters, because we could sort these into 2s. So we could chop this group in half and make another 2, and chop this group in half. You can move it around so that they all line up, so that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups with 2 in each. Get your objects and have a play around with that one. That will be much easier to understand if you have got something in front of you to sort into groups of 2. Get your grown-up to help you. And your task for after this lesson finishes is I would like you to find some objects in your house, just a little bit like I've asked you to help you with that last question. And can you put them in equal groups and write some of the sentences that we did before to explain your groups? Here are some ideas, like I said, to help you to be able to sort some things into groups, such as some beads, some pennies, if you've got some cars. We could use fruit. You can use bunches of bananas like I did, but I'm sure you won't have that many bananas, but you could try. Or we could use grapes. You could pick the grapes off and put them in bowls, and get some bowls from your kitchen and place the grapes into the bowls and see how many equal groups you can make with the different amount of grapes in the bowls that you have in front of you. You can always use your pens and pencils, your colouring pens, your colouring pencils, or your tubs, or your bowls, and put those pencils into the bowl, or pots or cups. There are lots of different ideas that you could use for this activity to sort them into equal groups. And don't forget to write your sentence. So there are how many equal groups of how many of your object. Now I've put pencils, just like we did before when we looked at the pencil question, but you would change this depending on what objects you are using. So if I was using grapes, I would say there are however many equal groups of however many in each group of grapes. So see if you can have a try. Write your number sentences to match your objects, and I would love to see some pictures and some sentences up on Tapestry. If you need any more help, mums and dads can send me a message on Tapestry, and I can do another extra little video if you're stuck or you need some extra help with understanding what you are doing. So please let me know. Otherwise, I can't wait to see your hard work and your sentences on Tapestry. So we'll see you soon. Thank you guys. Good luck.